Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Chester Leung. Chester is the co-founder at Opaque Systems. Chester, welcome to the show.
Thanks, JP. Happy to be here.
And we're delighted to have you. Chester, let's start with yourself, please, as we do with all of our guests. Could you give us a little bit of an overview of your background in technology and what your journey has been from where you got started, some of the roles you've held along the way, and take us up to the origins and the idea behind Opaque Systems?
So I'll start from even before Opaque started. Since around 2016, 2017, I and the other co-founders of Opaque were all doing research in a research lab called the RISELab at Berkeley. As part of this research lab, we were fortunate to have some industry sponsors who helped to guide and shape the research that we were doing in a way that ensured that the research solved some legitimate practical problems that these sponsors, which were Fortune 500 companies, were facing in the industry at that time. At the time, a lot of the research that we were doing focused on what we called secure collaborative learning. And what this means is that we were devising techniques to enable mutually distrustful parties to share their data and to run joint analytics and joint machine learning over that data. So this was before all this AI became super popular, super prevalent. This is still more or less in kind of the earlier days of AI and in data privacy. So we were solving problems at the intersection of data privacy and AI at the time in research. And while we were building this research, the research model at Berkeley was you build your research in open source. And we worked very closely with these industry partners to help them solve their problems. And we did that by working with them very closely on the open source to allow them to adopt the open source research into their own teams and their own organizations to solve those problems. And along the way, what we realized is that there was a good amount of traction with our research. And along with the traction, we also realized that there was some initial kind of investor interest in the stuff that we were doing. And that those two forces led us to develop this idea of commercializing the research into Opaque. So that's where Opaque came from. Opaque is based off of a lot of the research that we were doing back at our time at Berkeley. I mean, today, still a lot of the technology that we built is built upon that foundation.
Chester, I want to set the stage now. You launched Opaque Systems in January 2021. Tell us about the current version of the business, who you are, what you do, mission of the organization.
I'll start with the problem that we're solving here. And the problem still is, really the problem that we were solving back in the research days, but now, really amplified and with a much greater order of magnitude, because the data challenges that we've seen enterprises face are now more present than ever with this ever-growing adoption of AI. In particular, we focus on solving the data privacy and data sovereignty challenges for the enterprise. What we've seen over and over again is that as these companies attempt to adopt AI and to transform their businesses with AI, it's not really the AI technology that is hampering or slowing these companies down from developing the AI projects. It's really the data that the AI operates on that is serving as a major bottleneck. So what we've built here at Opaque is what we call the confidential AI platform that enables enterprises to accelerate their AI projects into production in a private and compliant way.
Fascinating. So I want to jump straight into the build of the organization since launching. Obviously, the acceleration of AI adoption and potential commercial use cases has been incredible. We're now seeing all companies of all industries leaning into how they can utilize AI. Talk to us about the journey, particularly the build of the platform, and maybe share some recent customer stories from when you first started offering the service to how it's evolved and improvements on the platform over time?
What we focused on initially was developing a beautiful user interface on top of a technology called confidential computing. Confidential computing is one of the research techniques that we were looking into back at our time at Berkeley, and confidential computing, for those that don't know, rely on specialized hardware chips that enable you to create an encrypted region of memory in the machine. And a lot of the research that we did and a lot of the technology that we've built here at Opaque revolves around scaling that, making it more performant, and essentially building a distributed system, or in particular, a secure distributed system around this concept of confidential computing, such that our customers and our users can use Opaque as a business application while still getting the privacy preserving guarantees of confidential computing. And you asked about customer stories. One example of which is ServiceNow. ServiceNow is one of the leaders in really helping companies transform their services and their operations in a way that is AI first. And what we've been doing with ServiceNow so far has been to helping them build their LLM applications in a way that operates on sensitive data without leaking that sensitive data to any third-party vendor. So in particular, ServiceNow recently has been, like many companies, using third-party Anthropic, OpenAI, et cetera, third-party AI models to serve their business applications. And what they've come to realize is that sending their proprietary data to these third-party vendors is not a very private or sovereign thing to do. In particular, they have a lot of sensitive data, they have a lot of proprietary data, and they don't want these third parties to be able to see their data, their customer data, et cetera. But with Opaque, what they are able to do now is they're able to actually run these AI workflows in a way that is private and that is compliant and that does retain the sovereignty of their data, because it is running in our Opaque platform, which guarantees that nobody, not even the cloud vendor, not third parties, et cetera, are able to see the data that is being processed.
Incredible. And given a platform and an organization the caliber of ServiceNow is coming to you, it just shows how complex and unique the problem is, but also how much of an offering Opaque has as an organization, because ServiceNow are doing incredible, but yeah, here they are coming to you for this very specialized help. I want to switch directions slightly now and talk a little bit about the team that you've built and scaled since launching the organization. What you've been working on the AI side is incredibly complex, and you really need some very specialized minds to do this. So help us visualize what the current makeup of the team is, from the backgrounds of the individuals, the types of positions, and what a typical project life cycle looks like. Help us look behind the scenes day to day of working at Opaque Systems.
I grew the team from 0 to, I think it's around now 15, 20 on the product engineering side. What we look for in particular are a couple of things, right? One, background in distributed systems, in security, in machine learning. Any kind of combination of those things, we found to be super critical for having success in the engineering roles that we have here at Opaque. Along those lines, we've built different teams out that focus on different aspects of our product. We've built what we call our foundation team, which focuses on more of the security systems side of things. And we've also built a second team out that we call the growth team, which focuses on ensuring that our platform and our product is delightful for our customers to use. And like most startups, we follow the Scrum model. All engineers do some planning at the beginning of the sprint, but there's occasional periodic stand-ups that we have to make sure that everything's on track, there's nothing at risk. And if there is something at risk, then we think of ways to mitigate that risk as we continue going through the sprint. And at the very end of the sprint, we have sprint review, sprint retrospectives, all of that where we look back and understand what went well during the sprint and what can we improve on going into the next sprint.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
So Chester, moving on to the part of the conversation which I know you were particularly excited about. What's next? Obviously, tremendous success thus far, and setting up a startup has so many pitfalls and challenges. Some expected, some not expected, but you've reached a point in the business where you have proven market value add and recognition from incredible customers. When you look at the near-term roadmap, particularly the next 18 months, what are you excited about? What are you hoping to accomplish? What are the sort of high-level growth plans for the business?
So two primary things that we're focusing on going forward. Number one is building out more sophisticated controls, more kind of a more sophisticated platform for data governance, data access. As I mentioned earlier, right, one of the biggest challenges that we've seen across basically every enterprise is data governance, having a kind of unified view of data, making sure that data is only accessible to the right people. So building out more data governance controls there to ensure that these enterprises are able to keep their data safe while being able to derive value out of that data. And the second thing here that we're super excited to continue building out is building out a platform that can natively support agentic AI. So as you probably know, we're seeing this industry movement or this industry push toward agentic AI where companies are now adopting these cognitive architectures that, with the advances in LLMs in particular and machine learning in general, are able to reason rather autonomously. And the super big evolution here is that because these models are able to reason autonomously, they are able to also operate independently and take actions independently, meaning that there is a minimal need for a human in the loop. And what a lot of people think, and what I think as well, that this would drive a huge evolution in not only co-pilots being able to have AI assistants to help for work, but being able to kind of automate a lot of the very tedious workloads that right now as humans have to go through and work on. So with these cognitive architectures and agentic AI, what we've seen and what we've heard to be very important is putting in place a framework around this agentic AI to ensure that even if the AI is non-deterministic or even if the AI is not completely predictable, that the data systems around this agentic AI are built in a way that even if the AI does do something that's not supposed to do, will not leak or will not affect the data that's operating on either upstream or downstream.
Final question from me, Chester. Speaking to an audience of AI and data professionals, speaking to an audience of potential future employees, when you are building Opaque Systems and when you speak to candidates now, particularly individuals who you feel could add value and are the right fit for the organization, what is it that you tell people about Opaque Systems, its mission, its environment, the growth plans that gets candidates excited enough to join you guys over some of the other incredible companies also trying to hire this top talent?
I'll say two things. I'm super proud, number one, of the kind of team that we've put together. We've heard over and over again that the team that we have here are composed of some of the smartest people that our newer employees have ever worked with. And we, in particular, promote a culture of open collaboration. I think this is inspired by our research days, but we empower and we encourage each other to challenge ideas, challenge assumptions, regardless of how long you've been with the company, how many years of experience you have. And what we've seen is that has really enabled us to come to the right conclusions rather efficiently, and that has allowed our team to move very quickly and move in the proper direction at most times. So I'm super proud of the team that we put together, and of course the vision that we have. Obviously, I strongly believe in it, but where we believe in a vision where the data that is really the holy grail, or really the kind of gold mine that each enterprise sits on. Will be able to empower these enterprises to work with AI in a way that they previously had not even thought to be possible. And this is only possible because the privacy and the data sovereignty challenges that come with this data are now solved by Opaque. And because we offer this solution, enterprises are able to operate on their data and derive value and derive insights in a way that was previously not possible. So what we tell people is, with Opaque, you are now able to, as an enterprise, do things that you never thought were possible before. And the mission of Opaque is to really enable and to empower enterprises to do that.
Chester, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. It was an absolute pleasure to learn about your own background, the early origins of the idea, which became Opaque Systems, and the tremendous success and growth that you've had since launching the organization. Hearing that the likes of ServiceNow, who are obviously a leader in advanced technology, are coming to you to solve some bespoke problems is a testament to what you've built, and it sounds like you're just getting started. So we wish you, the team, and everyone at Opaque Systems the very best of luck in the months and years to come, and look forward to having you back on the show again in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, JP, for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.